What's up, everybody? Back again with another tutorial of the week. In this week's tutorial, I'm going to be talking to you guys about exactly how to set up Photoshop. I understand that a lot of you guys may be unfamiliar with the Photoshop workspace. You're not sure how to get your way around. It's just a really big program to navigate around. So I wanted to make this video to show you guys exactly how I set up my workspace. I get rid of everything that I don't need so that the only things on the screen are exactly what I'm going to use. So I'm going to show you guys how to set up that workspace. I'm going to show you how to save that workspace for your future use. It's going to be super helpful. Whether you're a Photoshop user that's experienced or you're a brand new one, I highly recommend doing this to set up your workspace to optimize it for exactly what you want to do. So I'm not going to take away any more time talking here. Let's go ahead and jump right into Photoshop. So you can either open an image in Photoshop or just simply click on the Photoshop application and get to a screen like this. Once you're here, go ahead and click Create New and just click Create. It doesn't matter what size the artboard is. I'm going to show you guys how I would go about creating a workspace here. So if you go up to Window, over to Workspace, you will probably be in Essentials Default. These three workspaces up here are different photo workspaces that I use. They're not very descriptive in the names, but I kind of use them all. So I'm going to show you guys how to create one of those that you guys can use in Photoshop to get rid of the clutter in your Photoshop workspace here. So the first thing that I recommend doing is fixing up your toolbar over here. And the way that you could do that is you go up to Edit and you go down to Toolbar. Now it gives you the whole option here, and I like to make this screen bigger. It gives you all the options of all of the tools. Mine has already been customized. Yours will likely be different. But what I like to do is just click and drag the tools that I don't want to appear from the left to the right, and that takes them off of the screen. And then I can drag from the right to the left if there's a tool that I do want. Now, I've strategically grouped these to match what the tool does. For example, the clone and the pattern stamp are very similar, so I put those together. The spot healing and the patch are very similar. All of these tools up here, these marquee tools, are selection tools. So I just go ahead and grab those tools from over here, drag and drop them over here, and put them in a little bin here. So these little bins represent one little icon up here. So you can go through, these are the tools that I recommend having out here are these ones, and this is the order that I personally like them. These are all tools that you may use, whereas the ones on the right are tools that you're most likely never going to use or very seldom. You can click Done whenever it is customized. And like I said, I would highly recommend just pausing the video and matching exactly what I have on my screen. And now you can see that like those selection tools, if I click and hold, it will drop down all of them. So rather than having each of these take up one little space here and having a super long toolbar, I just group them all together just for simplicity's sake. So I highly recommend doing that. So after you've done that, the next thing that you want to do is really organize the actual workspace itself. So what I like to do, by default, layers is in the bottom right, which I like to keep there. You've got channels next to it, which is good. And then you've got paths after that. I like to click and drag and get rid of paths. I just drag it off and then I click the X, and then it is gone. And you don't have to do that, but like I said, I want to get rid of everything that I'm not going to use to simplify the workspace as much as possible. Photoshop is not a super easy program to use, so it's nice to get rid of things that are not going to help you or things that you're not going to use very often. Then I'm going to go up here. I'm going to get rid of color. I'm going to click X on that. I'm going to get rid of swatches. I'm going to get rid of patterns, and I'm going to get rid of gradients. Now I've got properties up top. So I'm going to leave the properties as is. I do like having properties there because, for example, when I pop open, let's say a curves layer, it comes up in the properties. That's how I adjust the curves layer. So I'm going to keep that up there. Now I want to get rid of adjustments because you can access the adjustments down here. I don't want it in multiple places. I'm going to click X, and I'm going to get rid of libraries as well. So I'm going to click X. So now you can see I've greatly simplified the space. I've got layers and I've got properties. And now I want to customize this toolbar here. So this is one other toolbar that you are going to use frequently. I want to get rid of this here. I do not want that, but I do want this. This is called the history. History is going to show me modifications that I've made on my image. So the other things that I like to put in this bar here is I like to go up to Window and down to Extensions. And a lot of you guys might have little panels that you have. You can see I have Raya Pro installed. I have the TK7. If you don't have these panels yet, don't worry about this part. But some of you may have these, and so you're going to want to put these on. So for example, let's say that I want the TK7 Rapid Mask, and that's going to appear right here. So now I can minimize that, and anytime I want to use the panel, I can just click up here, and it's open. So that is really how I like to set that up. Now, one more thing that I like to put up there by the properties is I like to go to Window and I like to go to Histogram. Now you can see that the histogram pops up here, and I actually want to put the histogram next to properties. Now and I'm going to get rid of this navigator, and a lot of photographers want more info on the histogram. They want to be able to see the histogram at all times. So you can click and drag this above properties if you want the histogram to hold its own table there. And the histogram is blank right now because the image is totally white, but if I paint some black on here, the histogram should begin to populate. And there you go. So you can see that now I can always see the histogram. So it's totally up to you. If you always want to see the histogram, drag it above properties. If you just want it there occasionally to look at, you can drag it in with properties, which is what I usually do. Now, the last thing that I like to put on this bar here is the actions. Go up to Window and click on Actions, and that will bring that over. I'm going to just drag this onto its own new space. Now, you may not have a lot of actions at the moment, but I've created some actions for myself, such as a dodge or burn. I've created a little action to create some pop in the image. I've done an action to create a totally custom vignette. So these are all things that you may create in the future. So I highly recommend just sticking the actions on here so that they are on that little sidebar. So that is pretty much how I set up my Photoshop workspace. There's lots of other things you can do. If you're into other kind of adjustments, you can definitely fit those in, but that is the main place that I like to put things. I set up my toolbar over here first, then I set up the right side of the screen with exactly what I want over here, and then I put things on this little toolbar over here. So you can access any of the windows up here in Window, and then all of them are right here. So if there was something else that you saw, maybe you want brushes, or maybe you want character, which is going to give you fonts, or whatever you want, you can click on those and you can allow that to come up and appear in the bar over here so that it's always at your disposal. So one last thing on the workspace, once you have it looking exactly how you want, what you need to do is go up to Window, down to Workspace, and click New Workspace. This is going to create a workspace from exactly what you've got on the screen. So you can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call mine WS1. And you want to save menus and toolbars. If you changed any keyboard shortcuts, you can change that too, but we didn't talk about changing any keyboard shortcuts. So you can go ahead and click Save when you're done. And then when you go up here, you should be in that workspace. I didn't save it because I've already got this workspace. But what you can do is, let's say that you were in the workspace and you said, oh, oops, I got rid of my properties panel. Where did it go? I'm not sure what to do. You can go back up to Window, down to Workspace, and you can click Reset, and then it will reset your workspace. So this brought it back to what the default was. But if you had saved the workspace and you were on that workspace, it would bring it back to exactly what you had. So that is super helpful to always just go back and reset your workspace, to just reset your screen in case you were to drag anything around or mess anything up. So that is going to be all from this week's video. Pause and play, follow along with this to really create a great workspace for your own workflow. All right, everybody, that is all. I really hope this was helpful for you guys. I know that for a lot of people that come to my workshops, me explaining this kind of thing to them is just so helpful. It's nice to get rid of the clutter, of course. It's always more confusing when there is tons of tools you don't need because you're not sure if you really need to use this tool, what does it do, yada, yada, yada. So follow along with this video, save a new workspace, and then load into that workspace every time you go to edit a photo. Once you change the workspace, it will load by default. So definitely do that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you so much.